Family sat down next to me at the coffee shop. Apparently they're bringing her daughter up here from Florida for college, and they just asked me, I was like, hey, do you have anybody that has diabetes in your life? You know, just questions that strangers don't ask to strangers, because we don't talk about important shit. We're like, hi, how are you? And they're like, good. And then that's the end of a conversation with a person. So strangers will open up every door in your life. If you don't talk to them, you don't open up doors. So I was like, hey, do you have anyone with diabetes in your life? And they're like, you know, probably. I'm sure someone does. So I was like, girl, here. I was like, this is all over the internet. It's everywhere. I'm just another person that's going to share it. But it's like, you know, the reversal for type 2 diabetes, and a very simple 3-page paper just showing some things with like excess carb consumption, what happens when your belly grows, brain shrinking, yada, yada, yada. All important science. So it was really cool. And then they just started asking me questions, and then we had an amazing conversation. I eventually actually even got another business contact. She has like a yoga studio in Florida. She does like Reiki. She works with positive affirmations. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, that's the same stuff I do. And the father was like, hey, he's like, so what do you do about like, you know, breaking that little last bit of addiction of like carbs and sugars? And I was like, well, here's some cool thing you do. Set a timer on your phone for 1 hour. And when that timer goes off, breathe. Take a subconscious method and bring it conscious. And then do that every hour on the hour. Listen to subconscious affirmations at night. And then in time, you eventually won't have to set that timer anymore, because you've done the conscious override, where you now live the life that you want to live every single day.
For now, I actually get their phone number, and here's what we do.
Music's cool, but it doesn't make you smarter. Now what I'm gonna be using as pre-workout is black coffee. And then same thing, if you do have lethargy and you are fasting, make sure you get some sea salt. This is my normal day of eating. These are the days that I eat foods that are not necessarily a cheat day. But my cheat day and regular day is almost the same day. Remember, these mirrors, there's usually a light above them. Where's it at? Right there. When you got a light above you, you can make yourself look like you're bigger than you actually are. So don't be worried about size of your biceps. Worried about size of your brain. Because that's all that matters in the end. These, you're gonna lose them in time. They're only useful for anti-aging benefits. So if you like to lift, lift. Get that heart rate up. When the heart rate goes up, the brain benefits from it. And that's all that matters. It's not about being the biggest dude in the gym. It's about being the healthiest, happiest, best human being that you can be. And that is what truly matters. So I encourage you to redefine what fitness actually means to you. Because when you change the meaning, you change your life. 45 minutes at the gym turned into about 2 hours, because I ran into a guy who reminded me a shit ton of my brother. He was in the Marines. It was super awesome. And we talked about basic training, the military, all the fun, fucked up stuff that happened. I was in the military for 5 years. I don't really share that with people because, you know, it's just, I did what I did because I was either going to be homeless or join the military. And that's a pretty simple decision for an 18-year-old to get kicked out of their house when they're still in high school, and then they're like struggling, and then they graduate high school. And then I did a year of college, and then I was just like, I had a girlfriend at the time, and I was like, I need to get a life. But then I like joined the military, went to Korea for my first base, and then I fell out of love with her. You know, the greatest girl ever. It was all the love that I knew. First time I met her dad, actually, I got kicked out of my house, school night, and she was like, that was the first time I met her dad, so yay! Talked about messed up childhood. And that's why I'm building this company, is because I know what it's like to be that kid that gets the messed up childhood and has all the dysfunction going on up here. And there's solutions for that. You gotta work really hard for it. But I'm gonna give you a lot of things that I learned along the way to help reprogram my brain into a functioning human being. One that can sit next to a business owner who has done millions of dollars in sales and have them be interested in you and working with you. And then meeting somebody else in the coffee shop and just having a conversation with them. And then turns out they own a really amazing yoga studio in Florida. And that's where it's like crazy. When you start talking to strangers, you start opening doors. Grant Cardone says, strangers have everything you want. I will never teach my daughter to not talk to a stranger. And that's some of the stuff. When I went to Korea, I used to talk to my girlfriend every day. And then it was like once every, a couple days out of the week, and then once a week, and then, once every other week. And I eventually fell out of love with her because I didn't know how to manifest my feelings and understand them. I would just push them away. Because when you're a kid and you're alone and you're learning and you're sad, you don't know how to manifest them. You don't know what they are, so they hurt. And what do you do when something hurts that you don't understand? You get rid of it, even if it's your own feelings. You know, so that's the path of self-destruction. No one there teaching you how to understand, because you're too young to understand by yourself. And when you're that young, I love myself and I forgive myself for everything that I've ever done. But when you're that young, you don't know any better. And when no one teaches you and you grow up and you start to learn things, even when you start making more money, you still don't know better. You spend it in all the wrong places. I did the military for 5 years. I extended for a year. I left with like $3,300 in my bank account. And then I came back and struggled around for a while, got some pretty good jobs, but I hated it at the end of the day because I was like, man, my bosses, I was like, there's no lifelong education with them. And then think about it. If your supervisor isn't as smart as you, how fast are you going to move up in the company? You know? So I started a social media marketing agency. I started getting clients through that. And then I'm making my dream life. You know, I spend every single day at the coffee shop. I don't have to go to work. I get to go to work. And that's the difference. That's a life that everybody talks about. Being happy. Gary Vander talks about it. Stop trying to build some billion-dollar business. He's like, find what makes you happy. Get rid of that super expensive car. You don't need that big house. If you're happy in your heart and you're happy in your head, the world is a better place. Happiness should be the North Star, not $1 million. And that's a lot of problems. We chase after too much money and we think more of it's going to solve our happiness. I promise you, a year ago, in the midst of my self-journey, that I've had 27 cents in my bank account. And that's actually initially when I first learned the fasting. It was because I didn't have enough money to eat. And then I knew fasting was a thing, so I was like, how to fast for 5 days, because I wasn't going to get a paycheck for 5 days and I had no food. And that's where I started learning fasting. So when you come from a very, very dark place and you learn to see the light, a light so bright that you're so attracted towards it you cannot stop working and running towards, that's the recipe for success. It's about being the best at something you want to be the best at, and also loving every moment that you spend doing it. I love learning about what I learn about, and I love teaching it. Those two things together, if they can add some money into the equation, then you have found your niche, as people call it. You found your calling. So I just left the gym. I'm on my way to go break my fast. It's a little bit later. It's like 7 o'clock, which whatever happens, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to eat within a 4-hour window today. That's going to be a lot of food, but it's not a big deal. So going to the grocery store, show you what I'm going to get. But seriously, it's okay to struggle. You've just got to be willing to look up to someone. And I never looked up to anyone. And then I bought an entrepreneur's program online and it changed my life. So I hope I can give you the motivation to change your life. Stay tuned. So just as your body has muscle memory, it also has nutritional memory. So probably for the next 5 days, this is what I'll be breaking my fast with. This is going to be 77 grams of black chia seeds. They didn't have the black yogurts, so I got a blueberry one. The only difference in these, and this is what's pretty interesting too, is they're all the same price. These ones have 4.53, 11 and 0. These ones have 10, 6, 11 and 1. And you can look at just the difference in nutritional facts here alone. You see how one has a little bit more cholesterol, one has a little more sodium. The proteins are different, even the amount of grams in each one. That's 125, that's 170 or 114, that's 170 calories, and that one's 130. So it always pays to look at your nutritional facts and your ingredients. But that's what I'm breaking my fast with today. When you do the math, this is adding about, depends, the nutritional facts charts are different everywhere. They say that these are 5 and 5 and cancel themselves out. You're adding about 30 grams of fiber, and you're adding about an extra net carbs, about 4.3 grams. These do not have much fiber in them, so you increase your fiber content, slow down the glucose release into your blood, decrease the oxidative stress overall. Play affirmations when you sleep at night, like 8-hour-long videos. They'll download into your brain. Yeah, and then make them set alarms on their phone. Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Let me talk to her. I was bullied in high school. Bullying is like you feel inferior, but you are superior because you can deal with it. Those people are lost and they're trying to find somebody as an outlet. So when somebody's bullying you, that makes you feel inferior and that makes them feel superior. But in the end, a person that bullies somebody is way inferior than somebody that can deal with being bullied and make it through it. So it's like little commonalities in society that we need to switch the flip. Like, you're being bullied. Think about how much stronger that's going to make you as a person because you're dealing with that now when you're young. What's the rest of the world going to do? People don't bully people in the real world. If they do, usually, hopefully, other people step in. You know, like, I wait for moments like that where if somebody's mistreating somebody, I don't care where it is. I will walk in the middle of it and be like, no.
Now, she'll stop somebody from bullying somebody else.
Yeah, but not herself. See, yeah. Teaching self-love. You know, it's hard sometimes. Like, when you're put down all the time, you don't have self-love. But you know what it feels like to be put down. So when you see somebody else do it, you will stand up against that like it's a fucking devil.
It's the biggest part.
Yep.
It's a homeless.
Yeah. Yep.
So I try to turn everything into a teaching.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
I'm like, okay, we can get together and go down and have our sandwiches.
Yeah. Yeah, when I get, like, I went to this...
Tuesdays,
Uh-huh.
but I want them to have a structured life.
Yeah, structure is so important.
My kids grew up, because I call myself a hippie black man.
Yes.
So I was just like willy-nilly.
Chilling.
After before I had my aneurysm, I was an angry person.
Yeah, so I didn't have one, but I was angry. I understand the anger. Like, you hate everything. You think everything is...
But I had to be at my desk at all times.
Yep.
And I had 4 children.
Yeah, that's a lot. I haven't had kids. I can't even understand the dynamics of that.
I'd be sitting at my desk.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just angry.
Yeah.
And they tell me about it now.
Yeah.
They were like, because I call it Dana AC, Dana BC, Dana before Christ, Dana after Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, once you get a good belief system, nothing can stop that. You know, whether it's believing in God or believing in yourself or believing in freaking...
It's a combination of both.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
It allows me to believe in myself.
I used to be the person that if I thought somebody that believed in God, I thought they were stupid. And then I was like, you know, as you grow up and you start to rethink your thoughts, you're like, okay, why did Jesus die? He died because for forgiveness. He forgave everyone that was beating him and hurting him and killing him. And it's like, if one person can do that, that teaches ultimate forgiveness. So when people, sometimes people are mean to me, they might judge me, they might say like, you're not going to be good at something. I forgive you for not believing in me. And that's like the same story. So it's like, you know, I used to be like atheist. I would define myself as that. Like I lived in North Carolina. And then I realized, I'm like, dang, my belief system is like in line. And then it's like, you know, it's like sometimes when you defer something your whole life and you're like starting to align with it, you're like, I don't want to believe in it, but it like makes sense. You know, it doesn't matter if the person was alive and died and existed or their story might be a whole joke. But it's something that if you implement in your life, the world gets better. Everyone's better to everyone. Yeah, it's a scary world out there. Yeah, I'm gonna head out though, so. You're a hugger? Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, I'm a hugger.
Yeah, for sure.
And your name was again?
Josh.
Josh.
Yeah, that's nice to meet you.
I'm following you on Instagram.
Yeah, I got you. I'll send you a whole ton of books and you'll love it. Thank you so much for this video. Sorry I didn't finish that video off with some food. I had a busy evening. Didn't get a chance to do the things I wanted to do, and that sometimes happens in life, and being busy is good. So I finished the rest of that day off with pretty much the same day I had, the same food I had on my cheat day, except I had 2 peppers, I had some asparagus, I had some broccoli, I had some cauliflower, I had some yellow squash, and then just a little bit of sea salt with them, coconut oil. What I base them in is coconut oil, turmeric, garlic, and then veggies, cook about halfway, lemon, and then sea salt. So tons of veggies, very important, very good. I'm on my way to the coffee shop till 11 o'clock. And as always, you know what to do. Boom, boom, boom. And click that button.